Hello and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist. Today, we are diving deep into a fiery debate rocking Nigeria's social media landscape. The Department of State Service, the DSS, has issued a controversial ultimatum to X.com, formerly Twitter, demanding the deactivation of activist and politician Omoyele Sowore's account. They claim a recent tweet from Sowore disparages President Tinubu and poses a threat to national security, citing several Nigerian laws. This has sparked a heated discussion about free speech, government overreach, and selective justice. So let's watch the full report and panel discussion. Then I'll give you my own take. So sit back and take a watch.
Social media is awash with reactions over a tweet made by the Department of State Services requesting X Corporation to deactivate the account of activist and politician Omoyele Sowore over a post the agency claims is a threat to national security. The DSS made the demand in a letter posted on X, accusing Sowore of posting a tweet on August 25th, which contains misleading information that disparages and ridicules President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the post, Sowore called the president a criminal and accused him of lying shamelessly about the lack of corruption. The DSS claims that Sowore's tweet has caused widespread condemnation and could lead to public protests, threatening national security and damaging the country's reputation. The agency also argued that Sowore's post violates several Nigerian laws, including the Criminal Code Act and the Cybercrimes Act, which prohibit false information, hate speech, and online harassment. Very detailed tweets there by the DSS. However, in a show of defiance, activist Omoyele Sowore vowed not to delete his controversial tweet. He described the letter from the DSS as an act of national disgrace, an assault on institutions, and on common sense. Sowore claimed he anticipated the letter, pointing to a protest last Tuesday by a group of, he says, hired DSS protesters who had chanted for his arrest and urged him to leave Tinubu alone, expressing outrage over what he called an unconstitutional act by the State Security Service. Sowore went on to post the very tweet he was asked to delete with the caption. Where is that caption? Where is that tweet? Can I have Sowore's tweet? He wrote on X, "This is the tweet. This morning, X, formerly Twitter, officially contacted me about the despicable threat letter they received from the lawless official DSS over my tweet below on Tinubu. One option I will not be taking is deleting that tweet. Thank you at X."
Wow, that was quite the initial report. We had the DSS stern warning demands to X, accusing Omoyele Sowore of posting misleading information that disparages and ridicules President Tinubu. They specifically highlighted a tweet where Sowore allegedly called the president a criminal and accused him of shamelessly lying about corruption being gone under his regime, particularly referencing a trip to Brazil. The DSS claimed this tweet could lead to public protests, threatening national security and damage Nigeria's reputation. They've invoked section of the Criminal Code Act and the Cybercrime Act, which prohibits false information, hate speech, and online harassment. Sowore, in a clear act of defiance, has not only refused to delete the tweet, but reposted it, describing the DSS letter as an act of national disgrace and an assault on institutions. This set a tense stage for the panel discussion that follows. So watch the heated debate from OG and Rufai. Take a watch.
I have been a very big advocate of the DSS and what they've been doing in stemming the tides of insecurity. But if I'm going to give honest counsel, this was not the right way to go about it. And this is sad. You see, what they have now done is, a lot of people might not even have seen Sowore's tweets. He said he tweeted it on the 27th.
Yes.
26th of August.
Was it? I think it was 25th. I saw.
What are we today?
Yes.
What are we today? 8th. I only knew about the tweets because they started talking about it and the letter they wrote over the weekend.
That's when you saw Sowore's tweet.
I didn't even know that he tweeted anything of that nature. This is not the way to go about it. Because, you see, we live in a country where, when we want to look at things on the pedestal of fairness, yes, what I would just say is it wasn't right to have called the president a criminal. You don't have any court judgment to be able to back that up. Or secondly, the other part of the tweets, what the president also went to say in Brazil, that corruption is gone. Corruption is not gone from Nigeria. We also know that corruption is not gone.
You know, Rufai, I would like to restate that point again, because I did make it when you mentioned it, that the president was not saying corruption is gone in Nigeria. He was talking about the fact that corruption is gone from the subsidy regime. Let us just, be sure that that's what he said.
No, I think you should play this full statement. No, not the half video, Oji. Play the full statement. We've gone to watch.
And he did say that corruption is gone in Nigeria.
It was the clarification afterwards.
It was the clarification.
Afterwards, yes. That's what clarified. What's wrong if you have made a statement? No, I'm not. Don't argue. I'm not arguing with you. I just want to make a statement.
I'm making a point.
But you haven't let me land. You haven't let me land.
I'm making a point. Let me finish, please.
Would you let me land?
Okay, go ahead.
Fantastic. There's nothing wrong with making a statement, and you go back and clarify it. So on this position is what I'm saying, that the president was talking about corruption gone during the subsidy regime. That's all I'm saying.
Oji, you are factually incorrect.
Okay, go ahead.
I put it to you, are factually very incorrect.
Go ahead.
Because the point is, in the video, he stated it clearly that corruption was gone.
That means you didn't hear what I just said.
Wait, whatever that they sent to be the clarification was not what the president said initially in the video.
But he clarified.
So in the clarifying is an afterthought. The question is, wait a minute, let me finish. The question is, did the president say corruption is gone or not in the video? He said it.
He did. We played
Clarify is an attempt to spin afterwards to be able to mitigate the impact of what the president said. And why must we have a country that when the president speaks, we are clarifying every time? That's just it. So as regards that video, you are factually incorrect. It was a clarification that you were bringing forward.
I'm not factually incorrect. You factually did not hear me correctly. I stated properly. No, let me speak. No, we can't argue. I stated properly. If you can calm down and listen to me.
Yes.
We played a video here. And the video said corruption is gone. The next day, I came on this set to present the clarification from the federal government. And I stated to you, what is wrong with making a statement and going back to correct it? And you said that we cannot keep making statements and correcting it.
Oji, I deal with facts.
So what do you mean I'm factually
incorrect? The factual
incorrect?
disposition of the video shows that the president said corruption is gone.
Okay,
I have said that
That's
already.
just it.
Okay, well,
so let me proceed.
I think what
please.
would matter to me.
There are many points. No, I'm not finished speaking. You cut me in half the way. Because you were trying to prove your point, Oji. You cut me in half the way.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is, Ayo, please let me make my point, and let me make it till the end. The president said corruption is gone. That's what he said.
You are repeating
in the video, what Sowore is replying to was the fact that the president said corruption is gone. Factually, that was not correct. He might put a clarification as an addendum afterwards. Secondly, on my point on the DSS, what is happening is the fact that when you start to say, okay, let's cherry pick, people will now ask you, what about what is happening in Edo where NSCDC officials were killed? Why do we talk about? What about the people inciting violence online? Because the DSS statement talked about inciting violence, and the next thing, you are not doing anything. We are in this country when Bayo and Onuga came out openly to say that this should be the last time the Igbo should put mouth in Lagos politics.
Right.
And he also doubled down on the statement. Why didn't we have a level of control and contrition? So that's why I said going through this route is a route that will not benefit anybody.
All right.
That's just my point.
That's your point.
Can I just make a point?
And highlighting what Rufai has said, which is quite apt. The fact that there are so many other ex-users that have made these sort of derogatory remarks or even, statements, it's quite apt because the DSS should go after everybody and not cherry pick, which I like as well. But I would like for you to buttress the point I was making
I just wanted to say that for me, what would really matter would be when Sowore made the statement, after the clarification or before.
He made it before.
Before the clarification.
So,
okay,
yes.
it was before the clarification, then I can understand why he put it. But following the clarification, yes. I do believe that if he continues down that path, then he's just deliberately wanting to attack what has already been clarified. Yes, it's not a good look for the president's statements to be frequently clarified, but he does have the right to do so.
He does.
You can speak off the cuff, and then you can
yes.
clarify your statement in his defense, because we've seen situations where they make a statement and they stand by that statement,
yes,
irrespective. So do whatever you want to do. They stand by that statement. Right. So following the facts, then I would say, okay, I understand where they're coming from. But I totally agree that the challenge with this is selective justice and selective action, which the DSS has been accused of doing. But beyond that, I must say that there's no one that's above the law. In 2021, the President of the United States account was banned by Twitter itself, following statements that were deemed to be inflammatory when he talked about the calling patriots, the people who invaded, Capitol Hill. So it does happen, and that's why they called for an outright ban, that if this account consistently misleads people or could instigate unrest based on information that is not fully correct, then they can take an action. However, I do hope that the DSS, since they want to be, they are really, the action is there to clamp down on hate. They can't cherry pick. If they are doing it to Sowore, to show that it is not targeted, and agreeing with what he says that he has been a target since NSAS, they need to ensure that a lot of people, and I can give them a lot of handles, whether it is causing ethnic division, inciting ethnic, rhetorics. There are a lot on
So the
social media.
Cyber Crimes Act just came into law, right? And we hope that we follow up with the DSS and they follow those, accounts that have, shared inflammatory statements, bigoted statements that we have seen so far, government officials as well. Dr. Bati, I'll come to you.
Okay, two ways to look at this. From the perspective of government, the concern of the Department of State Security is that we have a law in place, the Criminal Code, the very controversial Cyber Security Act, Sections 18, 22, and 24. Section 24 being the most controversial, particularly as it has been applied by the police. And the DSS is saying, under the laws of our country, we do not allow hate speech or cyberbullying, which will amount to domestic terrorism. And that they, in their own consideration, think that Sowore calling the president of Nigeria a criminal when he has not been so declared by a court of law is beyond the pale. And that was why they wrote to X, managers of X, to say delete that particular tweet and in fact suspend his account. Now the X managers, following due process, contacted him and give him the information. But how was this resolved at the end of the day? The tweet was on August 27, and Sowore says he's not going to delete any tweet. And I think that X has also not suspended his account. X probably saying, look, he has the right to free speech and all of that. However, he went a step further to say he's defiant, that he's been persecuted by the Nigerian government. And his supporters will say that, in fact, there's probably a case of persecution here from the protest at the toll gate, NSAS, from NSAS protest to arraignment in court to, invitations by the police. And now he says the DSS has also now joined. But that the struggle for him continues. Whether they imprison him, or they take him to court, or they delete his Facebook account, or they delete his X account, that he is committed to the struggle. So, people like Sowore, they are of a different type. He's also an opposition politician. And he says, this is where I stand in this matter. So where do you draw the line, theoretically now, between the right to free speech and the laws of the land that talk about his speech, and where is the responsibility of government in enforcing these laws? It's a very tight rope. There's no way you will swing and you will not end up, being accused of taking sides in the matter. However, what is important is that while the government has a responsibility to respect the boundaries in terms of the rights of the individual, Individuals also, while expressing their rights under Section 39 of the Constitution, must also realize that, look, where your right stops is where other people's rights begin. And that is why government, individuals, they have the recourse, if they have been defamed, to, under the same laws that the state is quoting, to defamation. The president of Nigeria can sue. If you call him a criminal, you can be asked to come and prove it in a court of law. If you defame another person using social media, you can be sued to come and prove it. So it's a very delicate balance in respecting the rights of individuals and also upholding the law.
All right, you know that Sowore also accused the Tinubu regime of using the Nigeria police force to systematically harass, torture, and persecute him. These tweets have gone viral.
And that concludes the Arise News segment with verifying perspective from the panelists. This situation brings to the forefront a critical tension between freedom of expression and government's perceived need to maintain national security and public order. On one hand, the DSS is highlighted by one of the panelists emphasizes the existence of laws like the Cybercrime Act, which explicitly prohibits false information, hate speech, and online harassment, deeming such action as potential domestic terrorism. From this viewpoint, they are simply upholding the law to protect the country's stability and the president's integrity. The argument that calling the president a criminal without a court declaration is indeed beyond acceptable bounds has merits, as no one should be above accountability for their words, even on social media. However, the counter-arguments powerfully articulated by Rufai and the other female panelists, that's OG, raises serious concern. The accusation of selective justice against the DSS is a significant one. If the agency is genuinely committed to stamping out hate speech and misinformation, then it must act consistently across board, regardless of the political affiliation or popularity of the individual. As Rufai pointed out, other instances of inflammatory rhetoric, particularly those inciting ethnic division, have seemingly gone unchecked. This perceived inconsistency erodes public trust and suggests political motivation behind the DSS action rather than an impartial application of the law. Furthermore, the president's initial statement about corruption being gone in Nigeria, even if later clarified to refer specifically to the subsidy regime, does present a factual inaccuracy in its broader context, given the ongoing realities of corruption in the country. Sowore's original tweet, while strongly worded, could be seen by some as a direct response to a statement perceived as untruthful or tone-deaf, prompting questions about balance between holding public officials accountable and avoiding defamation. The legal landscape, particularly the Cybercrime Act, remains controversial. While laws are necessary to prevent genuine harm, overly broad interpretations can stifle legitimate criticism and dissent, which are vital components of a healthy democracy. Sowore's defiant stance and his claim of persecution only amplify the narrative of a government attempting to silence opposition voices, especially given his history as a known critic. The question of where free speech ends and harmful speech begins is complex, and in Nigeria's current political climate is a tightrope walk for both the government and its citizens. For democracy to strive, there must be transparency, consistency, and a clear distinction between constructive criticism and malicious intent without resorting to tactics that appears to muscle dissent. So, what do you think? Is the DSS justified in its action against Omoyele Sowore, or is this a concerning step towards stifling free speech in Nigeria? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist for more insightful discussions on current affairs. Until next time, stay informed and keep the conversation going.